Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja, coming up in the next hour. Explosions seen and heard over Gaza after US vetoes UNSC resolution for ceasefire and aid in the city for the 6th time. Air raid sirens in Tel Aviv as Yemen's Houthi group launches a hypersonic ballistic missile and 3 drones targeting Israeli cities. President Trump says US seeks control of Afghanistan's Bagram air base given up in withdrawal. Kabul dismisses the need for any American presence. Canada and Mexico sign a deal to deepen economic ties as Prime Minister Mark Carney holds talks with Mexican President. The leaders committed to shared partnership with the US ahead of the review meet next year. And India's Anu Rani and Gulveer Singh in action today at the World Athletics Championships 2025 underway in Tokyo. First up, updates from West Asia. Heavy explosions were heard over Gaza City on Friday morning with fireballs lighting up the sky over the Palestinian enclave. On Thursday, Israeli tanks advanced along 2 gateways to the center of Gaza City, while internet and phone lines were cut off for several hours, signaling a potential escalation in ground operations. Palestinians were seen fleeing northern Gaza, heading south amid Israel's military operation, carrying their belongings in cars, trucks and carts, while others walked along a coastal road in central Gaza. Israel aims to defeat Hamas and secure hostages with large numbers of troops moving towards the inner city. A total of 48 hostages remain in Gaza since their capture in a Hamas attack on southern Israel on October 7, 2023. Israeli officials say around 20 are still alive. Families of the hostages have expressed concern and urged for a ceasefire with Hamas and free their relatives. Meanwhile, the United States vetoed a draft United Nations Security Council resolution for the 6th time that demanded an immediate, unconditional and permanent ceasefire in Gaza and that Israel lift all restrictions on aid deliveries to the Palestinian enclave. The text, drafted by the elected 10 members of the 15-member council, would also have demanded the immediate, dignified and unconditional release of all hostages held by Hamas and other groups. It received 14 votes in favor. It was the 6th US veto since the conflict between Israel and Hamas began nearly 2 years ago. In related news, the Israeli military said that a drone launched from the east crashed in the southern city of Elyat after air raid sirens were sounded in the area. Israel claimed that the drone had been launched from Yemen and fell in Elyat's hotel zone, triggering fire that caused damage but no casualties. Yemen's Houthi group claimed responsibility for the drone attack, saying in a statement that Elyat will remain under constant targeting. Separately, sirens were also activated to alert Jerusalem and Tel Aviv residents after Israeli army said that it had intercepted missiles launched from Yemen. The conflict between Israel and Houthis has been escalating, with the Iran-aligned group firing at Israel and attacking shipping lanes in what it has said is an act of solidarity with Palestinians in Gaza. In response, Israel has carried out a series of retaliatory strikes against Houthi targets in Yemen. DD India's Shubhendu Ghosh joins us on the story now. Shubhendu, nearly 2 years of Israel's war on Hamas in Gaza. Do we see any end to this crisis?
Hello, Tanvi. The simple answer is no, far from it. The developments in Gaza and West Asia appear to be increasingly convoluted, complex, and if it can be put simply, a humanitarian disaster of a proportion that one may not have seen for long. What appeared like a contest, a conflict between Israel and Hamas now looks like a conflict where there are very easy victims to identify. On the one hand, there are, of course, the Israeli hostages, many of whom have died in Gaza. On the other hand, there are innumerable Palestinian victims, the civilians, children who have perished, and there is also no official count of how many have gone. Meanwhile, there is no real effort, it appears, to bring about a ceasefire, a real ceasefire, and bring an end to the suffering of the real victims of this conflict. We see a UN Security Council vote defeated merely on the context of language that is used to point out Hamas's role in this conflict. Earlier, we see a possibility of a fragile negotiated peace that the region was working towards in Doha, in Qatar. And there we saw that Israel bombed Doha, trying to target the Hamas operatives, not being successful at that. But what it did was to problematize the situation even further. Instead of the conflict moving towards some kind of resolution, we see, in fact, a direction where the former allies, the mediators, are now, in fact, joining the ranks of the adversary. We see the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC, after the attack in Qatar, in fact, coming together to voice their opposition and condemnation of Israeli excess and action in Qatar. And one of the steps that they took is, in fact, a greater militarization and a joint defense pact, which is only going to throw the region into a further fragile situation.
The United States has repeatedly shielded its ally Israel from diplomatic pressure at the UN. Now, with the recent veto for the UNSC Gaza ceasefire call, does it isolate both Washington and Tel Aviv globally?
It does, Tanvi, most certainly, but at what cost? America continues to support its closest ally in the region, Israel, in all circumstances, whether we talk about the immediate UNSC vote where America vetoed in favor of Israel, standing against all the other UNSC members. Earlier, we also saw the situation and development in Qatar. Qatar happens to be one of the key non-NATO allies of the United States. But even in the circumstances where President Donald Trump did sort of convey some half-hearted criticism of Israeli action, it was all whitewashed eventually after the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, visited, saying that America stands completely in solidarity with Israel and Israeli action. In fact, isolating its key allies like Qatar and others in the region to an extent that they, in fact, these countries are coming together to form a pact of their own to be able to defend themselves against Israel. So what the world recognized as the October 2023 terrorist attack of Hamas in Israel, and Israel being the victim and its right to defend itself, in the past couple of years, it has become increasingly evident the excesses by the Israeli military in Palestine has become more and more evident. The UN-GA vote that happened last week, where India and 142 other countries, in fact, clearly pressed for immediate peace and ceasefire, isolating Hamas, and also a two-state solution, none of which appear to sort of make any sort of headway as far as Israel or United States is concerned. So in that sense, we see the region clearly divided into two parts. On the one side, US and Israel. On the other side, most of the world.
True. Okay, you mentioned of the UNGA. So next week, the focus will shift to the annual United Nations General Assembly Summit, where, of course, this issue is likely to dominate discussions. So what can we expect?
Most certainly, Tanvi. In fact, what we saw, the UNGA vote that I mentioned about earlier, in which overwhelmingly 142 countries out of 193 voted in favor of an immediate peace ceasefire in Gaza and push for a two-state solution. And then this UNSC vote happens, which sort of puts roadblocks to a possible ceasefire. Now, when the leaders of these countries arrive in New York to participate in the UNGA meet, one person would be missing, and that would be problematic. Mahmoud Abbas, the president of the Palestinian region, is going to be missing because he hasn't been allowed to enter the US. He hasn't got a US visa. We know that increasing number of countries are now willing to recognize Palestine, countries which earlier did not take that step. In fact, these happen to be American allies, from France to the UK to Canada and other nations. So those developments are something which will be in focus, but only resolutions may not help. These countries would also have to put their weight behind bringing that peace and also reining in the excesses by Israel.
Okay, thank you very much for explaining to us the crisis, how it stands at the moment. Thank you very much, Shubhendu Ghosh, for reporting on the story. Spain supported EU Commission's proposal to freeze trade agreements with Israel. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said that his country's interest in Israel's actions in Gaza stemmed from geopolitical and human rights concerns. During a press conference after meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in Madrid, Sanchez added that Spain had faced what he called terrorist attacks in the past and criticized the strategies such employed by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to combat these threats.
En relación con la propuesta de la...
In relation to the proposal by the Presidency of the European Commission, the position of the Spanish government is clear. We agree. In fact, for more than a year now, we have been requesting the European Commission to suspend the Strategic Association Agreement between the European Union and Israel, as we believe that one of the most important articles, which is the obligation to respect international humanitarian law, was being violated by the government of Israel.
Derecho internacional humanitario por parte del gobierno de Israel.
The meeting between Sanchez and Merz additionally focused on topics including solar energy initiatives and the European Future Combat Air System Fighter Jet project. Also, the United Nations Security Council will vote on Friday on reimposing deep economic sanctions on Iran over its resurgent nuclear program. Britain, France and Germany, signatories to the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action intended to stop Tehran obtaining nuclear weapons, allege that Iran has broken its promises under that 2015 treaty. In a letter to the UN in mid-August, the European three slammed Iran as having breached several joint comprehensive plan of action commitments, including building up a uranium stock to more than 40 times the level permitted under the deal. Despite a flurry of diplomatic talks between the European powers and Tehran, the Western trio insisted that there was no concrete progress. The vote could result in the imposition of sanctions as early as next week. The hard-won 2015 deal has been left in tatters ever since the United States, during Donald Trump's first presidency, walked away from it in 2018 and reimposed sanctions on Iran. You're watching DD India News. Are still to come on the show. Donald Trump to speak with China's President Xi Jinping for TikTok to keep operating in the US. Beijing yet to publicly confirm the development. US Senate passes resolution to create National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk following the assassination of the conservative commentator. And a 6.1 magnitude earthquake hits Indonesia's central Papua province, damaging several public facilities.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I am Tanvi Taneja. US President Donald Trump will hold talks with Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping on Friday about a deal to change ownership of the video sharing app TikTok. During a joint news conference at Chequers during a second state visit to the UK, Trump said that he would speak to China's President Xi Jinping to see if they can finalize something on TikTok. Trump revealed how TikTok helped him get elected and assured that the app will be owned by all American investors.
So what we're doing, and we're speaking to President Xi on Friday to see if we can finalize something on TikTok, because there is tremendous value, and I hate to give away value, but I like TikTok. It helped get me elected. In fact, Charlie said, "Sir, you ought to get on TikTok. You'd be great." I said, "Really? Tell me about TikTok." And we, as you know, we did unbelievably well with youth.
Top officials from both sides struck a framework agreement this week, which reports suggest could see TikTok would be owned by all American investors and very rich people and companies, quote. Meanwhile, China on Wednesday called the framework deal reached in Madrid to switch TikTok to US-controlled ownership a win-win situation, and said that it would review TikTok's technology exports and intellectual property licensing. So Asian markets mostly fell ahead of Trump-Xi talks and Bank of Japan concerns. We'll tell you about the Bank of Japan concerns in a while. Asian stock markets fell after a US interest rate cut. Traders reacted to Japan's central bank keeping rates on hold, but planning to sell their exchange-traded funds, and awaited a phone call between US President Trump and Chinese President Xi on trade, including a TikTok deal. So losses hit Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Singapore, Seoul, Taipei, Mumbai, Bangkok and Jakarta, while Sydney, Wellington and Manila gained. So the Bank of Japan has held rates at 0.5% to start exchange-traded fund sales. The Bank of Japan kept its short-term interest rate at 0.5% amid political and economic concerns. It will begin selling its holdings of exchange-traded funds, ETFs, and real estate investment trusts, reducing funds acquired during previous monetary easing. August inflation there eased to 2.7%, with rice prices stabilizing after earlier spikes. So going back to Donald Trump's visit to the UK, well, he's back at the White House after wrapping up his second state visit to Britain on Thursday. Trump and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer hailed the renewal of their nation's special relationship. The visit came to a close with a show of unity after avoiding possible pitfalls. Trump also paid homage to the close ties enjoyed by the two countries, saying that Starmer was a tough negotiator in securing the first tariff deal with the US, although Britain has still not got the lower US tariffs on steel that it was seeking. While returning, Trump said that he disagreed with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on immigration and energy issues.
You know, the thing I most disagree, I guess I disagree with him on two things. Immigration, which is very rough for the UK, very rough, and energy. As I said, you know, the North Sea, if I had that, I'd make a fortune with it. Look at Norway's accounts. Look at the cash Norway has. And they have the same thing we're talking about. I don't even know if they have as much, but that's a tremendous asset. So those two things.
The Trump administration is trying to negotiate a takeover of Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. US President Donald Trump announced on Thursday at Chequers at the joint press conference with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The historic Soviet-built airstrip was the main base for American forces in Afghanistan following the September 11, 2001 attacks, up until the US 2021 withdrawal that led to a takeover by the Islamist Taliban movement.
They just went through the Afghanistan total disaster for no reason whatsoever. We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to leave it with strength and dignity. And we're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way.
Canada and Mexico signed a deal to deepen economic ties as Mark Carney held talks with Mexican President in his two-day visit to Mexico City. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum reaffirmed their commitment to the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, defending it as key to North America's economic success. They acknowledged tariff pressures from US President Donald Trump and agreed to work on making the deal fairer for all sides.
And we are both committed to our shared partnership with the United States. And we look forward to using the upcoming review of TMEC, USMCA, CUSMA, different acronyms for the same thing, to find ways to make it fairer and more effective. Bilaterally, Canada and Mexico complement each other's strengths, and we stand united in times of challenge and crisis.
While Mexican President Sheinbaum expressed optimism about the future of the United States-Mexico-Canada agreement, stating she believed the agreement will endure, despite Trump's push to renegotiate it in favor of the U.S. manufacturers. The deal, effective since 2020, will be reviewed next year and is crucial for the economies of both Mexico and Canada as they rely heavily on U.S. exports. The U.S. Senate on Thursday voted unanimously to establish a National Day of Remembrance for Charlie Kirk following the assassination of the conservative commentator. The proposed day, set for 14th October, Kirk's birthday, aims to honor his life and political legacy. The memorial resolution comes 1 week after Charlie Kirk was killed during a speaking engagement at the Utah Valley University. The designated Remembrance Day will provide an annual opportunity to recognize Charlie Kirk's contributions to conservative politics and youth activism. The Charlie Kirk Day resolution now heads to the House of Representatives. For the Day of Remembrance to become official, the House must approve a similar resolution before sending it to President Trump for final approval. Now back to Europe. Germany has been struggling with an energy crisis for a long time. The country needs more power than it can produce. Now, there might be a way out of the crisis as Europe is looking towards Africa for help. Lars Holte is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin on the story. Lars, what can you tell us about the latest plans here?
Thanks for having me. Well, they're certainly interesting, although not entirely new. Let's start with this very latest news report. A consortium called Sila Atlantic is planning to import solar and wind-sourced energy from Morocco to alleviate the energy crisis here. The idea, giant solar and wind energy plants in Morocco harvest a lot more energy than would be possible here. And that's obviously due to the fact that Morocco has 4 to 5 times the amount of sun hours that we have here at the center of Europe. So especially with regards to solar power, the cost is very low, very attractive. Obviously, the more energy you can produce in any given plant, the cheaper it gets per kilowatt hour. With regards to wind now, Morocco actually doesn't have much more than we have in Germany. After all, we have some offshore wind parks that get lots of blow. But all in all, Morocco could put up plants with a capacity of 15 gigawatt and an annual yield of 26 terawatt hours. That would cover around 5% of Germany's energy usage.
Thank you very much, Lars. Lars Holte there, reporting from DW Berlin. Now, a quick update on earthquakes in countries across continents. Russia was rocked by a powerful 7.8 magnitude earthquake that struck off the coast of far eastern Kamchatka Peninsula early on Friday, prompting authorities to issue a tsunami alert. A series of aftershocks further rattled the region. The U.S. Pacific Tsunami Warning Center issued an alert for possible hazardous waves along nearby coastlines, but later lifted that alert. No damage has been reported from the region so far. While in Asia, a shallow earthquake of magnitude 6.1 struck Indonesia's central Papua province early on Friday, damaging several public facilities, but there were no reports of casualties so far. Indonesia, a vast archipelagic nation, experiences frequent earthquakes due to its position on the Pacific Ring of Fire. In South America, where a magnitude 5.6 earthquake struck Chile's Tarapacá region on Friday, the quake was at a depth of 89 kilometers. Earlier in June, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake struck the same region in the country, causing minor damage to infrastructure and cutting power to more than 20,000 people. No casualties were reported here as well. And next, we take a look at other stories making news around the world. Carolina Herrera, a renowned Venezuelan-American fashion house and brand, unveiled its Spring-Summer 2026 collection in Madrid's historic Plaza Mayor on Thursday. The show was also streamed live on social media, marking a shift from Herrera's usual New York presentations. At the Changchun International Agriculture and Food Expo in China, visitors were amazed by giant fruits on display. More than 10 pumpkins, each weighing over 400 kilograms, wowed the crowd. Huge watermelons were also showcased, adding to the excitement. Endangered herboas, long-tailed leaping rodents They have been included in the IUCN Red List. They were spotted in Turkey's Tatvan district of Bitlis. These rare rodents, often mistaken for rabbits due to their appearance, are actually nocturnal creatures of the rodent family. With their long hind legs and tails, herboas are easily recognizable and are usually found in steppes and desert-like areas. You're watching DD India News. Are still to come on the show. India gets re-elected in the Asia-Pacific Group of Postal Services for 2025 to 2028 at the Universal Postal Congress in Dubai. India to host AI Impact Summit 2026, says Ashwini Vaishnav, as digital data protection rules get finalized. And Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan champions Atmanirbharta, that is self-reliance, at the East Tech Symposium 2025 in Jharkhand's Ranchi.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. Here are the top stories of the hour. Explosions seen and heard over Gaza after US vetoes UNSC resolution for ceasefire and aid in the city for the 6th time. President Trump says US seeks control of Afghanistan's Bagram air base, given up in withdrawal. Kabul dismisses the need for any American presence. And India's Anu Rani and Gulveer Singh in action today at the World Athletics Championships 2025 underway in Tokyo. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has shared an article written by Minister of Food Processing Industries Chirag Paswan on next generation GST, saying the reforms will drive 4 major transformations in the food processing sector. First, GST reforms will democratize demand by making processed food affordable for a larger section of society. Second, they will help MSMEs formalize finance and expand. Third, they will drive innovation, encouraging companies to launch healthier, tastier and more convenient products. Fourth, they will strengthen India's edge in global markets, enabling food exports to grow and Indian brands to become household names worldwide. India's Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan held a meeting with representatives of all organizations related to tractors and agricultural mechanization regarding the GST reforms on agricultural machinery on Friday. Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan asserted that the benefits from the recently introduced GST reforms like price reduction in several agricultural machinery should be provided to the farmers directly.
Real time में सीधे 22 सितंबर से किसानों को घटी हुई जीएसटी दरों का लाभ मिले, तो ये जो कीमत कम हुई है इसका बड़ा लाभ हमारे किसानों को मिलेगा। लेकिन जरूरी है कि कंपनी और इसके डीलर इस लाभ को सीधा किसान को दे। अभी विकसित कृषि संकल्प अभियान में भी जो हमारी टीमें जाएगी गांव-गांव, वहां भी किसानों को हम इन लाभों को ठीक से बताएंगे ताकि किसान को ये कम हुई दरों का सीधा लाभ मिल सके।
Chartered accountants have hailed the recent goods and services tax reforms in India with an appreciation for rate cuts and said that for automobile industry, it is going to be a game changer.
I am T. Suresh, Chartered Accountant here. So you would have heard about GST 2.0 coming from September 22nd. For automobile industry, it's going to be a very, very big game changer because the 28% rate has moved to 18% for the small cars, which is going to reduce the tax rates significantly, and already all car manufacturers announced they're going to pass on. This will have a big impact on the car sales in India and the automobile sector. So even big cars also are going to get a benefit because of the rate rationalization, abolition of cess. I'm sure automobile sector will definitely look for the next 2 years as their greatest ever years. Thank you.
The new GST rate system, effective from 22nd September 2025, has reduced the number of slabs and removed the compensation cess. Earlier, the automobiles were taxed at 28% plus cess, making the taxes rise to 45% in total. But under GST 2.0, for small cars, two-wheelers and commercial vehicles like ambulances, trucks and buses, the rate has come down to 18%. And for commercial vehicles and large SUVs, the tax rates stay at 40%, but since there is no cess, it is a benefit also. Altogether, the people in middle and lower segments see a big relief because of GST 2.0.
All right, let's give you some sporting action now. First, updates from cricket. India take on Oman in their final group encounter of the Asia Cup today in Abu Dhabi. With Super 4 qualification already secured, the men in blue will look to test their bench. Abhishek Mahajan reports from Dubai.
After a high-voltage clash against Pakistan on September 14th, India wrap up their group stage against Oman in Abu Dhabi. With Super 4 qualification already in the bag, this game is about giving opportunities to those who haven't had much time on the field and experimenting with the batting order. Head coach Gautam Gambhir may avoid big changes but expect key players like Jasprit Bumrah to get some rest ahead of Sunday's big rematch with Pakistan. Indian player Kuldeep Yadav said there is no big or small match.
पिच पे उतरते हो तो कोई डिफरेंट नहीं होता, आपके सामने एक बैट्समैन होता है, उसको आप बॉल डालनी है और इट्स जस्ट द माइंडसेट कि आप चाहते हो कि आप उनके अगेंस्ट बेस्ट करो और आप चाहते नहीं हो कि आप पीछे हटो कोई भी स्टेप लेने में, तो हमेशा मोटिवेशन यही रहती है कि इनके अगेंस्ट अच्छा करना है.
Oman face India for the first time, and it's a daunting task. Their two games so far yielded scores of 67 and 130, with no batter crossing 30. Against India's formidable attack, they are up against a mountain to climb. But it will be a historic moment for them to play with world champions. India's schedule is intense. 4 matches in 8 days, 5 in 10 if they reach the finals. To manage fatigue, the team skipped training in Abu Dhabi, instead practiced in Dubai, adopting a same-day travel plan. Arrive for the match, return at night, and take Saturday off before the Super 4 opener against Pakistan.
For Oman, playing against India is itself a chance to measure progress. With cameraman Kumar Datta, this is Abhishek Mahajan in Dubai for DD India.
And let's now connect with DD India's Abhishek Mahajan joining us on the story from Dubai. Hi Abhishek, although it's a dead rubber today, but will India be aiming to continue their title defence on a high note?
Oh yes, Tanvi, absolutely. On paper, India are, yes, overwhelming favourites, and we might see a few changes in the playing 11 because we will be playing against Pakistan again on 21st September. That will be on Sunday, so there's not much time left between that match and today's game. So yes, and today's game, mind you, Tanvi, will be played in Abu Dhabi, which is around 150 kilometers from Dubai. So that's why Team India opted to practice in Dubai itself, and they are traveling on the same day to Abu Dhabi. They'll play their match and then again they return back at night after the game, and tomorrow will be the rest day and then the rematch against Pakistan. But yes, I was talking about the changes in the playing 11. You might see Bumrah maybe rested, Arshdeep Singh or Harshit Rana might get a look in. We also might see Rinku Singh coming back in the playing 11. It will be interesting to see because Gautam Gambhir is not in favour of making wholesale changes, and we also might see a rejig in the batting order because in the last 2 games we have seen Team India has been chasing. So even if they win the toss today, they might opt to bat first because they want to give more game time to the players who have been sitting and not getting the opportunity. So we might see, like I said, a rejig in the batting order, some changes in the playing 11 also. But yes, big opportunity for Oman also. They'll playing their first international match against the defending champions India. They were a part of the 2024 T20 World Cup also, but yes, it will be a big chance for them, in fact, to measure the progress.
Okay. Abhishek, a lot of drama and controversy has surrounded the Asia Cup in recent days, particularly about the match between India and Pakistan last Sunday. Now, after 1 week, it's again India versus Pakistan this Sunday. What can we expect in terms of more than the handshake?
You expect a lot of high drama, expect a lot of uncertainty, and they have been, a lot of things, centered around, a lot of things transpired in the last few days. Yes, India-Pakistan handshake controversy reached new heights in the sense that Pakistan did not want to play the next game. They were about to forfeit their game, but there were a lot of meetings held back doors, and we are also getting to know that ICC, who did not bow down to the pressure of the PCB, they might put few sanctions against Pakistan Cricket Board because they shot a video from that area which was restricted, PMO, which is players and match officials place, so that was not allowed. So we are also getting to know that ICC might put few sanctions, but yes, everyone is again gearing up for that match between India and Pakistan that will be played on Sunday. And yes, 21st September, India versus Pakistan rematch, and if India go on to win that game, and if Pakistan also they do well in the Super 4 stage in the later games that will play, we might also see India versus Pakistan again in the finals on 28th.
Okay, a lot of drama, as you say, high octane, of course, sporting action yet to be seen. Thank you very much, Abhishek, for reporting on the Asia Cup updates. Indian athletes Anu Rani and Gulveer Singh will be in action on the 7th day at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo later today. The 33-year-old Anu, competing in her 5th World Championships, will have to either achieve the 62.50-meter mark or finish inside top 12 in the qualification round of women's javelin throw. Asian Games champion Anu has a personal best of 63.82 meters, which is also the national record. Her season's best is 62.59 meters. Gulveer Singh, who finished 16th in the men's 10,000 meters final, will take part in the 5,000 meter heats. The Indian, who holds the national record at 12 minutes 59.77 seconds, will have to finish in top 8 in his heat to qualify for the final. And our sports correspondent Narayan Singh joins us for more perspective on the story. Narayan, Sarvesh Kushare claimed a historic 6th place finish in the men's high jump final on Tuesday. Sachin Yadav finished at the 4th place at the javelin throw final yesterday. Overall, how do you assess India's strides at the World Athletics Championship?
Tanya, if you take a look at India's journey throughout the, we can say, track and field in the past few years, it has been fantastic. And we continuously saw the Indian track and field athletes are making a mark in the various events. And yesterday, we saw the way Sachin Yadav, he was just competing with the best in the business. We can say the league of the extraordinary gentlemen. There was Julian Weber, the Diamond League champion, the Olympic medalist, the gold medalist, and the silver medalist Neeraj Chopra was there. The Paris Olympics gold medalist Arshad Nadeem was there. In that field, he is at the number 4. And if you take a look, Neeraj Chopra finishing 8th, Olympic gold medalist of the Paris, Arshad Nadeem at the 10th place, and Diamond League winner Julian Weber at the 5th place. This shows the consistent improvement in the Indian track and field. And today we will see Anu Rani will compete in the women's javelin throw event, and Gulveer Singh, after competing in the 10,000 meter, he will compete in the 5,000 meters today. So all in all, we can say that now India is not there for just the sake of participation. They are competing. They are, we can say, giving a stiff challenge to the best in the business. If you take a look, the Neeraj Chopra's trajectory, we can say that he has inspired millions of young budding athletes throughout the world, not only in India. If you take a look, his journey after winning the gold medal in the Tokyo Olympics, he finished in the consecutive 26th event. He has a 1-2 finish, and it's a remarkable achievement that in that span, an athlete is continuously finishing 1-2, whether he is winning gold or a silver medal in all the competition, whether it is Olympics, Asian Games, World Championship, Diamond League. And first time we can say that Neeraj was finishing outside top 2, and because this is we can say that after the match he revealed that he has some back issues a few weeks back, but despite of that, he just consulted his team manager, the Athletic Federation of India, and his physio. But he played, but we can say that somehow because of the injury he could not finish in the top 2 or the top 3. But overall, we can say that a decent performance by the Indian track and field athletes in the Tokyo World Championship.
Okay, we leave it here. Thank you very much, Narayan Singh, for joining us on the story. Members of Team World say they are ready to be the underdogs and rise up to the occasion against the higher-ranked Team Europe in the Laver Tennis Cup tournament. The annual tournament kicks off on Friday in San Francisco. Team Europe includes recent US Open champion and top-ranked player Carlos Alcaraz, Alexander Zverev, Holger Rune, among others. Team World includes Taylor Fritz, Alex de Minaur, Francisco Cerundolo, Alex Michelson, João Fonseca, and really Opelka.
It's a great competition. Where your greatest rivals becomes your teammates. All year long when I'm playing against Carlos and when I'm playing against the guys on my team, I'm trying to beat them. I'm trying to do damage to them on court, and now all of a sudden you're trying to help each other, you're trying to win together, and that's something very special.
All right, India's PV Sindhu has been knocked out of the China Masters after losing the quarterfinals to world number 1 Antim Young of South Korea on Friday. Young dominated Sindhu throughout the match with her footwork and stroke play. The South Korean player sealed the match 14-21, 13-21 in just 38 minutes. This was Sindhu's 8th loss on the trot against the Korean. This was Sindhu's first quarterfinal on the BWF World Tour since the India Open in January. You're with us on DD India News Hour, still to come on the show. Kartavya Path turns into a vibrant canvas celebrating unity with 25,000 artists, students participating. All that and more on the other side.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Tanvi Taneja. New Delhi today witnessed a historic artistic celebration at Kartavya Path, organized by New Delhi Municipal Corporation in collaboration with Triveni Kala Sangam and Delhi University. The event, titled Viksit Bharat Ke Rang Kala Ke Sang, brought together over 25,000 artists and students in a grand canvas painting, coinciding with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 75th birthday celebrations.
Kartavya Path lawns turned into a living canvas today as more than 25,000 artists and students came together to create a grand 10-kilometer long painting. The event, designed as a tribute to India's cultural vibrancy and the spirit of a Viksit Bharat, also carried the potential to set a world record. The theme, Viksit Bharat Ke Rang Kala Ke Sang, resonated in every stroke of the brush as participants celebrated India's progress and aspirations through art. The initiative, jointly organized by NDMC, Triveni Kala Sangam and Delhi University, showcased not just scale but the diversity of artistic talent across generations. Adding to the significance of the day, the occasion coincided with the 75th birthday of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Artists vividly captured the Prime Minister's persona in different styles, portraying him as a reformer, a global statesman and a leader who has inspired the vision of a developed India. From traditional folk art to modern contemporary styles, the paintings reflected the colors of Bharat, its heritage, innovation and dreams for the future. This collective effort not only honored the Prime Minister's visionary leadership but also echoed the message of unity, creativity and nation building through art. With brush strokes weaving the story of a rising India, the event at Kartavya Path was not just an attempt at creating a world record but also a vibrant celebration of cultural pride and collective aspiration. Bureau Report, DD India.
India's Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology unveiled the logo and key flagship initiatives for the India AI Impact Summit 2026. Being hosted for the first time by a Global South nation, the summit is guided by the principles or sutras of people, planet and progress. The official logo's identity is the Ashoka Chakra, an emblem of ethical governance, justice and constitutional values that guide India's digital and technological journey. From this core, neutral network flares radiate outward, symbolizing AI's transformative impact across languages, industries, geographies, bridging divides and enabling inclusive progress. The summit will focus on the safety and impact of artificial intelligence and follows the previous edition co-chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Paris. It will feature a series of flagship initiatives, including innovative AI startups and high potential ventures, global innovation challenges for youth, women and other participants, research symposium and AI Expo. India's Minister for Information Technology, Ashwini Vaishnav, shared details about India's growing AI journey. He said that currently India boasts of 30 data and AI labs across the nation that reflect PM Modi's vision of democratizing technology and promoting inclusivity. The minister also mentioned that the nation is further moving towards empowering the youth in future skills by means of India AI Fellowship. East Tech Symposium 2025 began today in Jharkhand's Ranchi, bringing together defence innovators and senior army officials. Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan is attending the three-day event that features exhibitions and business to government or B2G sessions. With over 400 crore rupees in projected procurements, the symposium marks a pivotal step in India's indigenous defence capabilities. In his inaugural address, the Chief of Defence Staff emphasized India's quest for indigenous tech and self-reliance in the defence sector.
India's quest for defence Indianization and Atmanirbharta is central to attaining strategic autonomy in the defence sector. And as Bhatia has said it, it's a compulsion of the day, actually. It's no longer a kind of words which we speak about. And when we talk about self-reliance and Atmanirbharta, I stress always that it starts with these two words. Self-reliance is the self. You have to look at yourself. And so does Atmanirbharta. It speaks about Atman, your own self. So this is all about actually self-realization, understanding, self-actualization. And that probably will give us the self-confidence to achieve it.
Indian Space Research Organization's chairman, Dr. V. Narayanan, attended a two-day national workshop on hydrogen fuel technologies and future trends on Friday. Speaking to media, Dr. V. Narayanan emphasized the importance of hydrogen as a clean fuel and highlighting its central role in ISRO's diverse projects, including the upcoming Gaganyaan mission, guided by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision.
Hydrogen fuel is a very clean green fuel. For example, when you use this in a rocket engine, along with liquid oxygen, the byproduct is simply steam, water. So it is not hazardous. And same way, today when you talk about greenhouse gases, I think this is one of the solutions for that, reducing those things. And hydrogen can be used in multiple places. One is automobiles, fuel cell for generating electricity, then gas turbine engines. In fact, in future, aircraft engines itself, it can come. And then, of course, we are using extensively up and down in rocket engines. And without liquid hydrogen, liquid oxygen engine, and we cannot have a meaningful program. And thereby, the workshop like this will give a lot of benefit to the people. So, Gaganyaan program is meant for taking our own brothers, our own Gaganyatri to space and bring them back safely. And a lot of developers are completed. I will say 80 to 85% development is completed. This year, December, we are going to have the first uncrewed mission. In that mission, instead of human being, we are going to send a half-humanoid, followed by 2 uncrewed missions. And based on the direction and guideline from Honorable Prime Minister of India, we are targeting the first crewed mission in the first quarter of 2027.
India got re-elected in the Asia-Pacific Group of Postal Operations Council and Council of Administration of the Universal Postal Union for 2025 to 2028 in the elections held at the 28th UPU Congress in Dubai. India has thanked members for their support and confidence in the country. In a social media post, Ministry of External Affairs said that India remains committed to providing innovative postal solutions for its people and sharing them with the global south. This milestone reflects India's growing global leadership under the vision of PM Modi. At the heart of this is the steadfast guidance of External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, whose relentless efforts and expertise were instrumental in securing this achievement.
India comes to you with partnership. She comes to you with not numbers alone, but she comes to you with a vision. the vision of a postal sector that is modern, but that which is trusted, that which is modern, that which is trusted, but also that which is inclusive. Because at the end of it all, we are all equal members of a global village. And today I must celebrate, as we have signed a letter of intent with our esteemed restricted union partners from Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean, formalizing cooperation in digital finance, e-commerce, and trading. Ladies and gentlemen, the world has changed.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today planted a kadamba sapling at his residence in New Delhi on Friday. The sapling was a special gift from King Charles III of the UK, symbolizing friendship and shared commitment to environmental stability. As India gears up for the much-awaited Hindu festival of Durga Puja, artists are busy giving finishing touches to idols. Pandals are being put up at various places to welcome Goddess Durga and accompanying gods and goddesses. Navratri, the festival, is set to begin from September 22nd this year. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live, and you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.